about 2 weeks into free agency, and the draft is coming up. And the Niners better not be done. They got a lot more to do. Let's talk about what they still need to do. I could go first. You could go first. How you want to do it?
No, you're better than me at this. You go first.
Okay. I know they extended Colton McKivitz. God love him. And yesterday they signed Brandon Parker, who also plays offensive tackle, although he's only played 5 games in the last 2 years. But at least they've addressed the position. They got to keep going. I think they wanted to be in a position where they didn't have to take an offensive tackle, but they still should. And here's why. It's one thing to say that Brock Purdy is your franchise quarterback, and it's another thing to actually treat him like one. Yeah. And I think when you have a real investment at quarterback, and they haven't paid him yet, but they're probably going to, you protect the investment, right?
Yeah.
So if you're messing around on the offensive line, I don't care what you say about your quarterback. You're not 100% committed to him because you're sort of leaving it up to chance whether he gets hurt or not. You're not doing everything you can to put him in the best position possible. So I think the Niners believe in Brock. I think everyone does at this point. So I'd like to see the Niners actually protect their investment. He's the most important player on the team. He's not the best player on the team, but he's the most important freaking player on the team. Treat him that way.
Iggy, if you were the general manager, would you take this offensive lineman in the first round?
I would. I absolutely would. It was interesting. Last time the Niners took an offensive lineman in the first round, it was Mike McGlinchey. Okay, he wasn't the right guy, but they had the right idea, and it came just a few months after they gave Jimmy Garoppolo that big freaking extension. Remember, they traded for Jimmy. They gave him that little audition. He did great. And then right after that season, they gave him like a 6-year contract extension worth $1 bajillion. And then they spent their first round pick on an offensive lineman because you got to protect your investment. Now, McGlinchey wasn't great, and now he's gone, but now you have an opportunity. You have your first round pick in years, and it's supposed to be a really good class of offensive tackles. They can probably get an offensive tackle in round 2 who's better than McGlinchey. Don't pass on this opportunity. You got to get that guy.
Right, and he could break in by backing up McGlinchey, eventually taking over McKivitz, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And eventually move over to left tackle.
Yes. That's what I'd like them to do. And I think
I
want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they get it. I think they're going to. And I think the reason they extended McKivitz and signed Brandon Parker is because they understood the whole world was expecting them to do that, and they're trying to create some mystery. Or I'm wrong. I don't know.
Mystery.
It sounded stupid as I was saying it.
The Magical Mystery Tour.
The Magical Mystery Tour.
I agree with you. I also think they don't need to really take a lot more guys on defense since they've been essentially only doing defense except for this Josh Dobbs. I think they're going to and need to take a wide receiver for 2 reasons. Due Cozy. 1, they may not have Ayuk. 2, I don't think they have Debo anymore in the way Debo was Debo. Yeah. He's not really a wide receiver anymore. He's not very good at running down the field and catching the ball. If you give him a screen pass and he has a little room, God, is he good. He's so exciting and dynamic, but you can't do that all the time.
No. So I agree with that. A wide receiver. One more. So they've done all these things to their defense, let people go, brought people in the coaching staff, on the roster. They definitely improved their pass rush. Leonard Floyd is a hell of a pass rusher. Malik Collins is probably as good of a pass rusher as Eric Armstead. The run defense was the issue last year, though. Have they really improved it? I mean, Devondre Campbell, that's the linebacker who's going to replace Dre Greenlaw. I don't know about that. That guy might be washed up. And then Leonard Floyd's 240 pounds. Malik Collins is a lot like Javon Hargrave. Can they stop the run? Have they addressed that really? I don't know. They got some backups who are pretty good against the run, but they're backups.
So what would you do?
I think they need to draft a linebacker, Dad. I don't know about Devondre Campbell. He's 31, almost 32. He's been really awful the last 2 years. He was good before that. They have no one after. It's Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell, and nothing, essentially. They need another linebacker.
How long is Greenlaw out for?
He tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. You tell me. I have no idea. And what's he going to be like when he gets back?
Yeah.
He wasn't even that good last year. He was great the year before that, but it seemed like he was hurt most of last year. We'd watch games. Like, is he limping on the field in the play? Looked like it. And then clearly he was playing through injuries, and then he got injured.
The Achilles is serious.
Yeah.
It's really serious.
And his whole skill set is being fast and hitting with violence. Can he still be that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come back to one thing you said, Iggy. You said when they gave Jimmy the big contract, they got what they thought was a good offensive lineman. I want to talk about Jimmy for a minute because he's important in recent 49er history. I think we could say that was another misjudgment by the 49ers to give him that contract based on the amount of games, which wasn't much, that he had played, and based upon his ability. What we know about Jimmy was they couldn't really wait to get rid of him. At one point, he wasn't even practicing with the team, and then they had to bring him onto the field because they were in a pickle. He was horrible with the Raiders. And now he's a backup at the Rams. And Iggy, he will never be a starter again unless there's injury.
Yeah, he's like Josh Dobbs now. You're just a backup. You're not even competing. You're not here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a Josh Dobbs situation. But it's worse. Josh Dobbs never got the big contract, was never seen misjudged as being a terrific player. Josh Dobbs is himself. Jimmy, the Niners completely misjudged him. And that's bad too.
Right. I mean, people thought Jimmy Garoppolo was the heir apparent. Jimmy thought he was the heir apparent to Tom Brady. At one point, when the Niners gave him that extension, he was the highest paid player ever in the NFL, I think, for like a month until someone else got paid. But still, there were great expectations for that young man. And he turned out to be essentially not a serious quarterback.
Right. Yeah. Not a serious quarterback. And never will be again. So
no, absolutely not.
Look, I have to come back to the main theme of this broadcast. Maybe he was a clerical error.
They really wanted Kirk Cousins, and then they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo by accident. On accident.
Yeah. On accident. And maybe somebody filled out the wrong name on the piece of paper.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Tom Brady, but they said Jimmy Garoppolo by accident.
Yeah, on accident.
Jeez. It's amazing how many clerical errors this team has had. Also, trading for Trey Lance. They didn't mean to do that.
Right. That was on accident. Here's the thing. In New York, we always say by accident. But Iggy grew up here, and he says on accident, and it always sounds very strange to me.
I do. I've trained myself not to say it because you drilled it out of me when I was a little kid. But I think I heard Kyle say it.
Oh, well, if Kyle said it, then what the hell do I know?
Also, when I was a kid, I used to say verse all the time instead of verses, and then you corrected me, and I don't say that anymore. But Kyle says verse.
He says verse, as if it's poetry, V-E-R-S-E, as if it, well, maybe he's, hey, Iggy, remember that time I asked Balky if he liked poetry in a press conference, and the PR guy,
because we were talking about some 7th round pick that they drafted, and Trent was asked, like, what do you know about the guy? And he's like, oh, well, he likes poetry. And you were like, what do you know? Like, what is that? What do you care? Who's your favorite poet? And Balky's like, and the PR director, Bob Lang, was like, say Wordsworth.
No, Walt Whitman.
Say Walt Whitman.
He said Walt Whitman. He said Walt Whitman.
Name one poem by Walt Whitman.
That really happened, right?
I actually liked Trent Baalke at the end.
Well, he kissed our Tosh the last season, right?
He knew he was in trouble, and he knew that we were, I don't know, he was trying to get someone on his side. So whenever we were at practice, he'd like come over and walk. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you over to
You used to ignore us, and now we're your best friend. We saw that happen, right?
It was so funny. But he kind of had this attitude like, look, I know I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
This isn't going so well.
Hey, Iggy, remember they had that practice at Kezar, and I said, watch, Balky's walking over to us. I said, see, here he comes. He's walking over.
And that's when you knew he was in trouble.
Absolutely.
You want to talk to us? Like this 2 years ago, you would have turned your nose up at us if we we
Right.
stunk.
Yeah, stunk
Now he's walking over to us
with a
chopping
grin.
it up.